Keel here with sailing vessel DreamChaser. Welcome to this week's channel. As most of you likely know, Irma is certainly barreling down into Florida. Harvey's just a couple of weeks ago. Unbelievable damage in Texas from Corpus Christi all the way up into Lake Charles, Louisiana. And just a couple weeks later, Irma's coming in.
I'm watching Irma very closely, and it's not taking that right-hand turn, that northward turn that they keep predicting. As I look at the 500 millibar reports, certainly I'm no weatherman, but I look at the 500 millibar reports and I don't see what's there that's going to push that thing north. As a matter of fact, quite the contrary. I see highs kind of running across the country from west down to southeast. And my fear is that those clockwise rotating high pressure systems are going to continue to force Irma a little bit south. She's already predicted to come somewhere between Cuba and the tip of Florida. If she doesn't make that turn right there, she's going to go right into the Gulf of Mexico. I don't know. That's going to be rough if it comes over this way. So make sure insurance premiums are paid and we have a safe place to go. So that'll be our plan if it does get here. But we'll keep you guys all posted and updated. Just kind of check it out and see what's going on.
I got to tell you, we've been watching this thing very closely. We are on the north side of Lake Pontchartrain, Louisiana. And the track, as you guys know, this thing has been coming across, and it looked like it was going to cross right between Key West and Cuba. All the models were showing it turning north because of the cold front and the high pressure system over the U.S. I was worried it wasn't going to turn. And, the very first couple of tracks, let's go back to Wednesday or Thursday last week, we're showing it making landfall in Florida between Miami and Fort Lauderdale. And then it was Miami. Then it was south of Miami. Then it was just right where the Keys start to come off the lower tip of Florida. Then it was Marathon. Then it was Key West. Every time I saw a new forecast, this thing was starting to track a little later and later in that northern turn. It does look like it started to turn after going through Key West last night. That's Saturday night. It started to make its track north. Good for us, not good for Florida. But listen, at this point, I'm certainly thinking about all my friends in Florida, and also am thankful, right? Crossing my fingers and thankful that it didn't make the turn here. I suspect even as far away as we are, we're going to see effects from this. The outer bands of this thing are 300 and 400 miles wide. We can drive to the edge of Florida here from where we are in about 2.5 hours. It's not that far away. So we're talking 150 miles maybe. And if this thing does come up, kind of goes through Tallahassee, we're going to be on the far outer edge of it, meaning we'll probably get some tropical storm speed gusts from a wind perspective, but I suspect we're going to get a ton of rain as well. My heart goes out to all of those islands that were impacted by Irma. Irma is unbelievably powerful. Gusting winds over 200 miles an hour in some places along the eye wall, and this eye wall essentially went right through Key West. I don't believe the winds were that high when it hit Key West, but unreal damage. If anyone saw any video or photos from the British Virgin Islands, it's essentially devastated. Tortola has hurricane holes where all the charter boats go, and they had all the boats moored up and anchored in their sort of hurricane hole there. It basically looks like somebody picked up a bunch of plastic toys and just dropped them. Catamarans upside down on land. It's just unreal. The millions and millions and millions of dollars of damage is scary. So a lot of people wanted to know, how are we faring in the storm? And like I said, I think we're going to be fine. We're watching it track closely, and I do expect we'll probably be pulling windage off the boat tomorrow. We have a large sun awning that goes from the forestay all the way back to the mizzen mast. This is a large cover awning. When you figure the size of this boat, that's probably 45 feet, maybe. Yeah, about 46 feet of 45 or 46 feet, I guess, of sunbrella. That's length, and width, it's about 15, 16 feet in the widest spot. It's held up by the halyard with 4 lines that come off of the halyard clip down to aluminum square tubing cross members that run athwartships between the main and the mizzen. It's anchored at the main, and it's anchored again at the mizzen, so they pull this way between the two. Then from the front of the main to the bowsprit, there is, to the forestay, there is a smaller piece that's triangular shaped. It has a piece of PVC that runs a thwartship right there, which is probably only, at that point in the boat, that width is probably about 10 feet maybe. and then it goes all the way down to just 2 feet wide over the anchor well. There is then components that go around the main mast, and twist snap and Velcro to both of those pieces, making it one solid piece. And then from the mizzen, there's 2 sort of wings that go backwards to cover the companionway and the windows over the coach house. So it's a large, frankly, sail, and we don't want it up at anything more than about the 20 miles an hour. And that's probably asking for some damage there. Don't want that. That's kind of what our plan is, and we certainly have thought a lot about hurricane preparation. We have a ditch bag, a go bag, if you will. It has multiple days supply of water, certain medications we might need, some supplies we could potentially need, and the thought of this, if we were going to evacuate, right, and obviously if it were any kind of direct hit, we would take that bag, carry it up into the car, and we would be off. Get the cars to higher ground, secure the boat, and go. We also have a checklist of all the things we would do for the boat, right? I started mentioning some of these: spider tying to the other side, removing all the windage, taking anything off the deck that could become a projectile, quite frankly. And then we have marina-specific things we would do, right? Taking my dock box and moving it to higher ground, moving all the vehicles 3 or 4 blocks up into the neighborhood so they're a good 20 feet over sea level. So there's a plan in place in the event we needed that. Apologize, I know this video is a little bit more talking than maybe projects. This week has again been pretty busy, probably like most of people in the boating industry or people in the southern part of the U.S., Florida, Georgia, Florida, and along the Gulf Coast. I feel like I've been watching, it's like playoff football. I'm glued to the TV, but I'm only going back and forth between weather channels. It's a little scary. And reading blogs and looking at video footage from places where they've already been damaged.
We took a quick break from all of our Irma prep, and I took the girls to IHOP today. You'll get a kick out of the comment that Chastity made. And then we went over to the playground and just let the kids play for a couple hours. They had a good old time. And man, McKinley was spinning around on this little chair thing. So was Chaz. It didn't seem to bother either one of them. But boy, I could barely stand up after spinning like 8 times.
Florida.
What do you mean Florida?
Look.
We got Florida.
2 Floridas.
So is that like a pork protection of Florida?
Yeah.
All right, Irma. You can't do it now. What do you think? Oh no.
It's bacon. Come on.
One of the real cool things about having this YouTube channel is you start to connect and build a community with people that have a like-minded interest. And something that's been really neat for me was many years ago, I looked this up on Facebook. I have a photo album on Facebook, and I created it on September 27th of 2009. And the folder name was The Kind We Like. And then inside of that, I had photos from the Wanderer. So if you're into this channel, you're into boats, then you have to know Captain Ron. It's a staple. It's a movie that's on every single person's boat, whether you sail on the weekends, whether you only have sailed once in your life, or you're a liveaboard or cruiser. Captain Ron is a staple, right?
Anything's gonna happen. It's gonna happen out there.
The sayings are so quotable from that movie. And years ago, again, 2009, Deb and I had just been into sailing for a few years. We had a 30-foot lagoon, small sloop. We were sailing on a lake just north of Dallas, and we were falling in love with this lifestyle. We were traveling down to Kima, Texas, kind of the sailing capital of Texas along the Gulf Coast. Probably one weekend every month, and we were looking at boats. We kept thinking, someday we're going to get a bigger boat. Someday we'll get a bigger boat. And we found one we loved. It was the boat, the Wanderer, from the actual movie of Captain Ron. They actually used 3 different boats in the movie. This is one of the 3 that were used. It was owned by the production company. When you go look at the history of the boat, it was owned by the production company at a point in time. So it is the boat is the one you see. Well, you see it in several different places in the movie. I don't know all the scenes that this one is from, and we just kind of stopped and looked at it. We called the broker to just say, hey, can we take a look? Is it okay? And the broker came out and met with us, and Deb and I had fallen in love with it. We've always loved Bill Garden designed boats. It's a clipper bow. It's got the bowsprit. It sort of rakes upward. Real classic lines. These boats are typically made in Taiwan. The most Bill Garden boats were. They have that sort of Taiwanese look to them, right? Scroll work, a lot of woodwork and cabinetry. And if you've been watching this channel, DreamChaser is the boat we bought. It is the exact same boat as the Wanderer from the movie. It's a 1978 aft cockpit, cutter rigged ketch, and it's the boat. But 2009, September 27th, we looked at that boat, we fell in love with it, and we put in an offer for the boat. We didn't have much money, we weren't ready to make a purchase decision. We provided a pretty low offer, and it was not accepted. Quite frankly, at the time, I was thinking I'm glad, because this is our first boat. We were still on our first boat. The biggest project I had done was replacing the faucet in the galley and revarnishing the teak trim, the eyebrow trim, and the tow rail on that boat, that lagoon, Laguna. Very little experience. So we made a bid on this boat, didn't get it. And we tried to reach out and find out whose boat it was. It turned out one of the guys doing some work on it was also doing some work on our boat. So we learned a little bit about who the owner was. We got in contact with the owner and just touched base, right? It was a casual sort of discussion. Well, fast forward a couple years after that, Deb and I are looking for boats, and we find DreamChaser. And I reached back out to the guy who owned Wanderer again and said, hey, I'm thinking about buying this boat. Would you be willing to talk with me about it? What'd you find? What are some things I ought to watch out for? And I reached out to other Formosa owners. The beautiful thing is boat owners are such a tight-knit community. I mean, this guy and the other owners I talked to were so helpful. The guy's name was Mike, and it was really, it was cool. The guy's really helpful. Long story, right? We forget a little bit about it. We're not in regular contact. A little over a year ago, Deb and I drove to Kima, and we sailed our Gulf Star back here to New Orleans. And while we were there, we kind of looked over at the boat, and we could tell more work had been done. The decks were starting to get done. He'd put a canvas kind of canopy over it, just like we're doing, to keep it a little drier and a little cooler, probably for doing work. Never met them in person. Obviously, we've seen each other, right, from videos and stuff like that, but never met in person. So this weekend I get a text, and it's from a phone number I didn't recognize, but it said, hey, this is Mike and Nicole, and we're going to be driving to Kima to check on the boat after Hurricane Harvey. We're going to be coming right through the area where you are. If you guys are around, we'd love to stop and chit-chat and maybe see the sister ship to Wanderer. What a cool experience, right? Mike and Nicole came over, and we probably talked for, an hour and a half or something like that. And it was so fun to share and swap stories of the things he had done in his project and the things we were doing in ours. And in some cases, he'd already done the work I hadn't, and in some, I've already done work he hadn't. So we were able to pick each other's brains, and it was a great time. As a matter of fact, I'll put up a photo he took as we were as they were getting ready to leave. All four of us kind of got in front of our boat and snapped a little selfie there. So really a cool experience. And next time I'm in Kima, hopefully our schedules are going to work out where we can go check out the Wanderer, see what the inside of that boat looks like, especially now that they're going to be in the area. And it'll be really cool. I'll have ourselves a selfie in front of their boat. So it's been really cool meeting people that we've interacted with on our YouTube channel or our Facebook page. So Mike and Nicole, thank you so much for the visit. Deb and I thought it was so exciting that you guys came out. I'm glad the schedule worked out and timing worked the way it would. And thanks for all the guidance and advice on the things you've done. I can't wait to see Wanderer. I can't wait.
Are you glad the bathtub's all working so you can get in the bathtub?
Yeah.
Is that better than a big Rubbermaid bin? Yeah.
He likes you.
He likes me. Uh-oh. Be careful, you're dripping water out of the tub, okay?
He likes you. Daddy,
He does.
he sticks there.
Oh, that's funny.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching, and please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or even Tumblr. Please take a moment and go over to our website at svdreamchaser.com to download free resources for cruising and how-to projects. Get your thumbs and mouses ready. We also have a couple of links right on the screen for some other playlists and videos that we think you'll enjoy. Thanks for watching, fellow dreamers.